Hello, my name is Catherine Guinup, and today I will be presenting my capstone project on addressing depression in higher education. The prevalence of mental health issues is rising on college campuses across the globe, with depression as the most common mental illness among students. In the World Health Organization's global survey of colleges conducted from 2014 to 2017, depression was found to have a 21.2% lifetime prevalence, with an 18.5% prevalence within the last 12 months for students. The Center for Collegiate Mental Health found that suicidal thoughts and actions among college students has increased yearly for the last 8 years, with just under 10% of students presenting with serious suicidal concerns. The World Health Organization reports that in 2016, suicide was the third leading cause of death for individuals aged 15 to 29. A recent World Health Organization survey stated that 33% of students screened positive for at least one mental health disorder, with depression being of the highest prevalence. Given the global increase in depression seen in higher education institutions, it is imperative that colleges and university campuses have increased awareness and training in identifying and addressing depression in students. The purpose of this quality improvement project will be to ascertain whether educational intervention for faculty, along with mental health providers' utilization of a validated depression screening tool, will improve faculty referrals to the Counseling Center for students exhibiting depressive symptoms and improve provider screening and interventions. The aims of this study were to increase appropriate referrals for individuals to the Student Counseling Center and enhance the well-being of individuals in a college population experiencing depressive symptoms. This is expected that training faculty on how to identify and refer students with mental health issues to the Counseling Center will increase the number of students receiving services. It is believed that better screening and utilization of evidence-based standards of care based on the individual's depression scores will improve outcome for students struggling with depression. This quality improvement project was a quantitative exploratory design with no direct engagement of patient participants. An education intervention was conducted for all faculty within a college located in the Midwest region of the United States, and include information on identifying and addressing mental health issues and to refer students to the campus mental health services appropriately. Education was provided for the campus mental health provider on the use of the Patient Health Questionnaire, or PHQ-9 tool, for all patients, and an evidence-based intervention protocol was developed to address specific scores. Anonymous PHQ-9 surveys were completed for each patient, subject by the college mental health provider involved in direct care. Analysis of the data was conducted from total referral numbers and a retrospective review of the anonymous surveys. No patient or provider identifiers were included for this project. The minimum data necessary was recorded to achieve the study goals. Currently, no best practice standards of care exist for the identification and treatment of mental health services in higher education. Because counseling services vary significantly from institution to institution, no standard model exists for addressing mental health issues. Coupled with this, college students are a population that appears to be particularly susceptible to mental health issues. The majority of college students are between 18 and 24 years of age, which is also the age range in which most psychiatric illnesses, like depression, begin to manifest. College is often marked by a period of instability in an individual's life, which has a high potential to exacerbate any existing or potential mental illnesses. Adding the stress and pressures of academic expectations, increased debt, and higher rates of poor health choices like binge eating and bad dietary habits and irregular sleep patterns increases the risk of developing a mental health problem in this population. Approximately 19.8 million students attend secondary educational institutions currently in the U.S. Given the overall number of students enrolled and the prevalence of depression, the number of individuals affected becomes significant. It has been found that well-developed community mental health services that target specific populations are beneficial in improving well-being and preventing suicides. School programs are one example of services that, if designed well, can positively impact the mental well-being of a population. In the last 10 years that I have taught, I have noticed an increase in frequency and severity of mental health issues in the student population. I have also noticed that there is no specific plan for identifying depression in this population. Early detection and treatment of depression can positively affect overall health care for individuals and society. The burden of healthcare costs is higher in patients with depression than in those without. According to the American Hospital Association, improving access of mental health services for affected patients not only enhances individual outcomes, but also contributes to lower overall healthcare costs. According to the American Psychiatric Nurses Association, of all the adult patients with mental health needs, only about 44% of them receive the necessary treatment, and even after identifying the need, care for mood disorders like depression is often delayed for 6 to 8 years. Coupled with that, college students are one specific subgroup of the population that are higher risk for suicide. Because of this, APRNs in general practice should be routinely screening patients for depression with an emphasis on college students. A review of the literature revealed several major themes. The most notable of these were the prevalence of depression, identification, treatment methods, and the repercussions for students with mental health problems. The first step in the project involved an educational intervention for faculty on recognizing and referring students with depression and suicidal thoughts. All faculty was notified and attendance was mandatory. Step 2 involved all providers being notified of the implementation of the PHQ-9 and the purpose of the Quality Improvement Project prior to its launch on September 15th of 2020. In Step 3, a paper copy of the PHQ-9 screening tool was provided to all providers. In Step 4, how to use and score the tool was discussed in depth. Step 5, the providers were informed that the PHQ-9 may be administered in paper form when the students arrive for their visit. Step 6, the form was also made available for students in the College Student Mental Health Center's secure website. Step 7, the providers were informed that the student could complete the PHQ-9 if they chose to complete the tool prior to their visit. Faculty referral numbers were provided to me via email for 3 months after the educational intervention, and descriptive statistics were utilized. For the PHQ-9 surveys, data was provided for me at the end of the collection period and entered into Microsoft Excel. A Z-test was completed to analyze whether 75% of the students who were referred for depression scored as being moderate to severe depression on the PHQ-9. This study utilized a small, convenient sample. The PHQ-9 scores were represented using an ordinal scale to reflect severity of depression. Responses were on a 5-point scale to represent depression severity. 1 equaled 0 to 4, which indicated minimal depression. 2 equaled 5 to 9, which indicated mild depression. 3 equaled 10 to 14, which indicated moderate depression. 4 equaled 15 to 19, which indicated moderately severe depression. 10 equaled 20 to 27, which indicated the patient had severe depression. Ethnicity was represented by 1 Caucasian, 2 equal Black, 3 equal Hispanic. Depression intervention initiation was represented with a 1 for yes and 2 for no. Excel version 2016 was used for this project. The pre- and post-intervention numbers for faculty referrals were analyzed retrospectively from June 10, 2020 through December 10, 2020, to ascertain whether a change occurred after the educational intervention. For the pre-intervention period, there were 27 referrals. For the post-intervention period, there were 34 referrals. This demonstrates a 26% increase in referrals after the educational intervention was conducted. Data analysis was performed on demographic variables. The study participants were living patients presenting to the campus mental health center. A PHQ-9 screening was collected along with demographic information from September 15, 2020 to March 15, 2021 on all students 18 years of age and older who presented to the campus mental health center. The population was comprised of approximately 76% Caucasian, 17% Black, and 7% Hispanic. A total of 29 patients out of 31 completed a PHQ-9. Of those, 15 were referred for depression-related symptoms. A Z-test was completed to calculate positive scoring for moderate to severe depressive symptoms in those who were referred for depression. The p-value of 0.3274 is greater than the significant level of 0.05. The confidence intervals indicate that there was not significant data to suggest the PHQ-9 identified depression in 75% of the patients referred for depression. Thus, we cannot reject the null hypothesis. According to the U.S. Preventive Task Services Force, depression screening should take place when there are appropriate systems in place to ensure effective treatment and adequate follow-up. PHQ-9 completion was voluntary, and the tool was self-administered by the patient. There was often need for a mental health counselor to remind the patients to complete the PHQ-9 prior to their visit. It is important to note that all patients screened received at least one counseling session despite their PHQ-9 scores. The study did not meet the requirements for generalizability of the findings to the general population. The school utilized had an overwhelming majority of female students, and the different ethnicities included in the study were not representative of the general population. The faculty varied in experience and educational preparation. This may have led to inconsistencies in attitudes about depression and the need for referrals. Also, due to the ongoing COVID pandemic, the educational intervention for faculty had to be presented via Zoom. This could have caused some faculty to miss the presentation due to technical issues. Furthermore, even though the attendance was mandatory, not all staff and faculty participated in the training. The PHQ-9 also had to be utilized by the students in electronic format, which may have caused some issues with participation. The sample size was also small for this study, with only 29 students participating. Another limitation was potential bias, because the education session for faculty and the PHQ-9 for students was not completed by all individuals, and non-response bias could have occurred. The study was not randomized and had no control groups. This could have resulted in a selection bias. The faculty turnout was not 100%. However, information was provided at the educational sessions, was well received, and participants declared their knowledge of depression and the referral process was improved. The campus mental health provider was present during the educational interventions to answer questions and emphasize the importance of depression care and referral for treatment. These sessions were relaxed and offered time at the end of this discussion for questions. While the educational interventions were well received, it was not possible to measure the amount of information retained by the faculty. Also, the pandemic lessened face-to-face time between faculty and students, because most of the classes were being held online format at that time. Faculty may have been unaware of the students who were struggling with depression symptoms. There was also lack of verification that faculty utilized measures to detect depression in their students. Faculty may have been reluctant to bring up concerns about depression to students due to their own discomfort with the subject. Students may also have been reluctant to disclose depression symptoms to faculty. Faculty referrals did increase by 26% after an educational intervention for faculty over the time period prior to the intervention. This demonstrates an improvement in the referral process for the time period studied. A common theme before the educational intervention was that faculty not knowing how to make the referrals for depression, or even that they could make referrals at all. This could, however, be attributed to the time of year the collection took place. The 3 months prior to referral were made during the summer months when admission was slightly less than the fall. It is unclear whether some of the depression referrals were made in error or if the PHQ-9 did not capture depression in some of the individuals tested. Statistical significance could have occurred with a larger sample size than one utilized for this study. Also, some students chose not to complete their PHQ-9, which may have limited results further. College years can be a time of high stress and depression development. Finding ways to screen for and treat depression in this population is critical to the success of those affected. Screening college students is a way to reach a section of society that might otherwise be missed. Unless patients are asked specifically about their mood, they are likely to omit information about depressive symptoms. This makes it imperative that these conversations are being conducted with students so that depression can be addressed before it becomes unmanageable for the individual. The study's outcomes promote the need for ongoing training of faculty on recognizing and referring students struggling with depressive symptoms. Colleges should be using standardized training for faculty as well as depression screening tools for all referrals to campus mental health centers. More research is needed on the effectiveness of using the PHQ-9 tool for depression screening in this population. The outcomes for this study highlight the need to improve in screening methods for depression on campuses. Currently, there is no standardized method of screening across institutions. Couple this with the fact that depression is underinvestigated overall in this population, making it an underserved area. This makes depression screening in this population prime for new healthcare policies. Policies should be put in place to better serve the higher education community. Untreated depression can lead to suicidal thoughts and actions. Faculty training on how to recognize and report depression in college students can make the difference for some students who need services. Treating mental health issues in students can help ensure their success not only in school, but in life as well. This study's outcome can enlighten higher education administration and researchers as to the struggle of students with mental health issues and provide insight for a future plan for education materials that focuses on addressing depression. In the college population, depression can go untreated due to lack of identifying potential patients and an absence of standardized screening on campuses. Faculty should be trained on signs and symptoms to watch for and how to refer students needing care for services. Services should include a consistent, validated, and reliable depression screening tool utilized on all potential mental health service patients on campuses. This quality improvement project furnished an educational intervention for faculty recognizing and reporting depression, as well as utilizing a standardized screening tool for students seeking services through the campus mental health clinic. The campus mental health providers felt that these measures enhanced the identification and treatment of depression in this population. It may be important to periodically provide additional education in services for faculty and staff to refresh their knowledge and educate any new hires. This impacted practice in the campus mental health services began offering the PHQ-9 to any student who wanted to participate, not just those referred for treatment. Faculty also began referring more students for depression to the mental health provider. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.